AITA for divorcing my husband after discovering that the child we have from surrogacy is not biologically mine and that my husband is having an affair with the surrogate mother, who is also my friend? I can't believe my life has come to this. All I ever do is go out of my way to help others, but on the few occasions I need help, nobody ever comes through for me. I, 36F, have been with my husband, 35M, for a total of almost 10 years, married for 7. We had what I thought was my child by surrogate over 2 years ago. Because after 4 years of trying to conceive with no success despite medical interventions, it turns out I am unable to carry a child to term. I had always wanted to be a mom. Devastated is an understatement regarding how I felt when I found out I have a medical condition that would make it nearly impossible to carry a baby to term. It was even more upsetting when I had to get a major surgery to remove uterine growths with the hope to increase fertility, and complications during surgery warranted a partial hysterectomy involving removal of my uterus only. I still had my ovaries, so we started looking into cost of a surrogate. It is really expensive. My close friend since college, who'd already had 2 kids of her own, offered to serve as the surrogate for us to cut down on costs. After 2 disappointing IVF sessions that did not result in pregnancy, she became pregnant on the 3rd try and carried a boy to term for us. I was so happy and busy after the birth, between being a mom and returning to work after a 4-week parental leave, so I didn't notice any warning signs. I should have noticed the red flags and warning signs early on, but did not, because I was so exhausted from working so much at my stressful job and 2 part-time jobs to cover most of the bills and anticipated medical and legal costs associated with this friend becoming our surrogate. I was the primary breadwinner. My friend and my husband started talking more, and I would sometimes come home from my weekend job to find her already hanging out at our house when my husband was there. I chalked it up as innocuous, and it's good for her to know my husband better since she was in the process of hopefully carrying our child for us. I was grateful to have someone helping us have a child. I also thought it weird that our son has brown eyes when both of us have blue. Then I found out that while this is uncommon, it's possible sometimes due to many genes controlling eye color. Recently, it all came to a head when I took our son to a doctor's appointment and they did metabolic panel and blood tests, which showed that he had a blood type that is not biologically possible to have with me as his mother. He's B+, I'm A+, husband is O+. Immediately, I started worrying it was the fertility clinic's fault and that they'd messed up and implanted a wrong embryo. I started lining up lawyer consultations to possibly sue the clinic and looked into having a DNA parentage test done. The test results showed that I'm not the mother, but my husband still is the father. I was heartbroken and angrier than ever. Talked to lawyers about medical malpractice in the fertility clinic we'd used. Then my husband confessed that he'd slept with my friend, our surrogate, on a few different occasions during our struggle to have her get pregnant with our embryos. This means what I thought was our son conceived by IVF and carried with a surrogate isn't my son at all and was in fact conceived the old-fashioned way, which I can't ever do. Livid and absolutely broken at the same time doesn't even begin to describe how I feel. I have been breaking down into crying spells over and over again about this. He claims he didn't ever think pregnancy could result because he pulled out, and he had always assumed that he was the reason for our earlier struggles to conceive, both before my hysterectomy and during the IVF insemination process with this friend. I felt an immediate triple betrayal from what was supposed to be my husband, my friend, and now knowing my child isn't even really mine. They also told me I was wrong and that maintaining my parental rights isn't much different than if I adopted outright. They said it isn't blood that makes a family. They are all about me divorcing my cheater husband, but keep telling me I'm making a mistake giving up my parental rights. Some of my other friends agree with what I'm doing. A few admitted they weren't big enough to swallow pride and care for an affair baby, or to see daily reminders of my friend surrogate's betrayal every time I look at her son. I just want a clean break and a fresh start. I'm also looking at relocating several states away. AITA to give up my parental rights in the divorce because a kid I paid a lot of money to have born by surrogacy isn't biologically mine at all, but the surrogate's. My husband cheated on me with a girlfriend he had known for 6 months through online dating while I was pregnant. I contracted an STD from him, and although he initially denied cheating, he admitted to it after the test results came back. Currently 8 weeks into my pregnancy, I had gone for a routine pap smear and STD screening. A few days later, I tested positive for gonorrhea. I had never cheated on my husband and never expected that he cheated on me. When I confronted him with the test results, he seemed genuinely shocked and insisted there had to be a mix-up with the results. He swore up and down that he had been faithful and there was no way that it could be true. I insisted that he get tested. He agreed to do it, and as the days passed, he admitted that he had met a woman online and had sex with her. He claimed it was a mistake, and he couldn't answer why he did it. He said the woman meant doing to him, and it was a one-time thing. I'm disgusted and feel betrayed, knowing that he put me at such risk. Our pregnancy was planned, so we were actively trying before I got pregnant, and he had no regard for that. The thought of continuing the pregnancy while dealing with this betrayal is overwhelming. I'm considered having an abortion because the idea of bringing a child in the mix is crazy to me. I don't think I can ever forgive him. I feel like crap for thinking of having an abortion. I just can't see myself continuing this marriage and having a baby with him. Update: I called AP. My husband cheated and gave me an STD while I'm currently pregnant. Finally decided to find out the truth about his affair. I figured out my husband's email password and discovered that he's been on dating sites for months. I also found a woman's name and email address from hotel bookings he forwarded to her. I Googled her information, found out where she worked, and called her. When she picked up, I got scared and hung up. But she called back, and we had a long conversation. She said that she didn't know he was married and kept apologizing. She told me that if my husband and I have been intimate in the past few weeks, I should get tested because he gave her an STD. I was shocked because I thought she had given it to him. She said he gaslighted her, making it seem like she got it from someone else. I told her he did the same to me. I didn't mention that I'm pregnant. She said she cut him off and is considering suing him over it. They met on Tinder and had been seeing each other for 6 months. Although I initially thought she should have known he was married, but I believe her because my husband isn't on social media. He has an Insta account but doesn't post pictures. She confirmed that they had sex multiple times, contradicting his claim that it was a one-time thing. She said they spent time in hotels until she felt comfortable inviting him to her apartment. We came to the conclusion that she was just one of the women he was involved with because he gave both of us an STD. Hearing all this made me sick, knowing there are other women. I feel stupid for not realizing what was going on and probably wouldn't have found out if it wasn't for the STD results. My husband doesn't know what I've discovered or that I've spoken to her. This is incredibly tough. I'm heartbroken and conflicted about whether I should schedule an abortion, but finding this out is pushing me towards that decision.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe.